me on YouTube and I'll get the account blocked. So that actually know the people who actually post that website because I'm making me live.
I'm definitely going to go have a cup of tea.
Thank you very much.
There you go. There you go.
Do you regret your comment?
Proper British Dishes Part 16, full English breakfast, starting off as a 13th century Anglo-Saxon hospitality.
Tomorrow. 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 It's tomorrow, not tomorrow.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden, do solemnly swear to blow up the United Kingdom.
The worst of the
Meanwhile,
Lord of the Flies by William Golding. A book about savagery, loss of innocence, and the inherent evil of man. Although it's more commonly known as the book that your 7th grade English teacher has you read and write an essay on that you didn't want to. So, let's get right into it. Our story opens up on the beach of an island. Here we meet our first two characters, Ralph and Piggy. Ralph is attractive, he's strong, and he's a confident leader. While Piggy is intelligent, rational, but he's fat. Ralph is a Chad. Piggy is a full-time mod for the anti-work subreddit. Ralph uses a conch shell to call out to any remaining survivors lost in the jungle. One by one, around 30 boys come out of the jungle, including a full choir led by a boy named Jack. Jack is very similar to Ralph. He's a leader, he's very domineering, but he's a psychopath. Once everyone is together, the boys decide to elect Ralph as their chief. They also decide to establish some rules. 1, the signal fire shall never go out, and 2, you must be holding the conch to be able to speak.
Shut the shut the
Heck.
up! You don't have the talking
Shell.
The conch represents civilization and order in the book, and it's practically the only thing that's keeping the group from going completely rabid. In the meeting, they also bring up the concept of the beast. This is essentially the personified version of the evil that lurks on the island.
While on the island, several conflicts arise. Ralph and Piggy believe that the group should build shelters for the night, while Jack only wants to hunt for meat. This eventually leads to Jack abandoning his post to hunt the pigs on the island. Jack's actions break rule number 1, leading to the signal fire going out. As a result, the ship passes the island and the boys are not rescued. Ralph scolds Jack for breaking the rules, and Jack lashes out by punching Piggy to the ground, breaking Piggy's glasses in the process. Jack uses fear and intimidation tactics to cause that group to distrust Ralph. As tensions rise, some of the choir boys and Jack decide to leave to become the hunters, after a failed coup d'etat against Ralph's leadership. Jack then creates a shrine to the beast by placing a decapitated head of a pig onto a spike in the woods. Later that day, a little one named Simon hallucinates and wanders into the forest to find the shrine. The head begins speaking to him, proclaiming that it is the Lord of the Flies, and explains that the beast isn't real and the boys will end up killing each other. Simon passes out as a result. The hunters then invite Ralph's group for a feast. They arrive reluctantly, and Jack asks the boys again to join his tribe for food and protection from the beast. Ralph argues that he is a chief and holds the conch, while Jack reputes that the group no longer needs the conch. This statement is symbolic of Jack's rejection of the civilization and democracy that the conch represents. And before anyone can answer, a storm picks up, sending the hunters into a frenzy. All the boys began dancing and chanting, "Kill the beast, kill the beast." Simon then comes out of the bush, exhausted and dazed, attempting to explain what the Lord of the Flies told him. But the boys don't hear him, and knowingly or not, they violently beat, scratch, and bite Simon to death. According to Golding, the scene depicted represents the idea that, quote, "One civilization crumbles, so too does the self. They venerate the savagery of men in every way of the word. They are immune to all reason and logical thinking."
The next day, Ralph and Piggy wake up to realize that they and some of the little ones are the only ones left. Everyone else has joined Jack's tribe on the other side of the island. Meanwhile, the hunters are in the process of tying up one of the little nuns, so Jack can beat him up to assert his dominance as chief. Jack tells his hunters to stand guard at the camp while he goes off to steal fire. Later that night, Jack and 2 of his hunters raid Ralph's camp, stealing Piggy's glasses and running away into the night. In the morning, the group decides to bring the conch so they can try and make peace with the hunters, instead of starting a war. Once they arrive, they are met with armed guards who begin throwing rocks at the boys. Ralph sees Jack and demands that he returns Piggy's glasses, but Jack refuses and a scuffle ensues, until Piggy blows the conch to try and end all of the violence. But the boys aren't having it, so one of the hunters pushes a large rock off the cliff that smashes the conch and sends Piggy flying off the cliff to his death. After a moment of silence, Jack looks directly into Ralph's eyes and says that he will die next, as Ralph runs away to hide in the brush. The rules of the conch are broken literally and figuratively. Civility is over for the boys. The only thing that matters now is survival. After around a full day and night of hiding, Ralph is all alone with his thoughts. He considers actually joining the hunters and acting like nothing had ever happened, but when he actually goes to do it, 2 hunters stop him to warn him about Jack's plan to hunt him the next day. Out of kindness, the hunters give Ralph a piece of meat and promise not to tell Jack that they saw him, although this is in vain because the next day, Jack violently beats the information out of the boys until they give up Ralph's hiding location. Jack ends up setting half of the Minecraft server on fire in an attempt to smoke out Ralph. Once they spot him, they chase him wildly throughout the forest. Ralph ends up becoming so exhausted and delirious that he passes out when he reaches the beach, only to wake up to see a naval officer standing over him, asking the boys if they have been playing war. All the boys then begin crying and sobbing over the loss of innocence. They may have been saved, but they can never forget what happened on the island. To be honest, I had no idea how to really end this video, so I guess we'll go back to the claim. Do rules and regulations keep the order? Obviously, yes. We have like 50 million years of human history that proves that. We can of course assume that maybe if Jack hadn't abandoned his post, the boys would have been rescued before any blood had been shed on the island. Or maybe nothing would have changed, and everything would have ended up the same way. Because in the end, the book is about the savagery of man. Nothing else.